Three. So, hello everybody. This is, I do not know what the number of Tennis Tours podcast, but we have had one for Australian Open. We had another few for a French Open. Then we had another few for Wimbledon. And finally, we have our very first one for the US Open 2022. Hello everybody. I'd like to welcome everyone. So with this, let me just get the guests to introduce themselves and then we'll jump into the podcast straight away. So Prachi, just introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Prachi. I am based out of Pune. My primary work is I work as a product manager for TIPCO. But apart from that, I watch tennis. I love tennis and I like to discuss tennis, and that's why I'm here. This is what this is what I enjoy doing. That work is just what I do in my free time. But this is what I do. All right. Yeah, that's about me.
Yeah.
It is.
Also, like weird thing about this panel now, both Tejas, Prachi, and me, all of us are Rafans. So currently, it's very
Oh,
highly skewed towards the big three debates is highly skewed towards Rafa.
yeah, of course,
Yes.
of course.
I mean,
I
is there even a debate? Is there even a debate?
This is the
Die
state of
hard
debate which we're
Rafa
having
fan.
now. So with this, Tejas, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi everyone, Tejas here. I was in the podcast for Australian Open, so it's been a while since I've been here. I missed French Open because I got married at that point, then Wimbledon
Congrats.
because there's some stuff at home. So yeah, good to be back here. I've been following tennis since 2005. Hard Rafa Nadal fan since day one. So yeah, that's about it from my side. So yeah, how about you?
Yeah, thank you so much, Tejas. And it's literally, it feels like an age that we just started growing when we were like so little and watching Rafa Nadal, and now he has grown old. And so
Yeah,
sometimes we reflect back and I'm like, okay, fine, it's time has actually passed away. We're
yeah.
reaching the second part of our life now. Yeah,
Yeah.
feels heavy at times. Yeah. But yeah, coming to Rafa. So Rafa, if no people who do not know, so at Wimbledon, during Wimbledon, he had this abdominal injury. And after that, he had to opt out of playing the semifinals against Nick Kyrgios. And then he tried to come back at Cincinnati. He lost to the eventual champion, Borna Coric, which he will also be discussing his in beautiful run at Cincinnati, which was out of nowhere. But currently, you've seen the first match of Rafa. It just happened against Rijiti, Rijitika.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a very
yeah.
weird to pronounce name. Again, I thought he was from Japan, but he's from Australia, which is another
Sure.
weird thing which I saw. But anyways, so Tejas, how do you feel about Rafael Nadal's form right now?
I think it's usual Rafa Nadal stuff, right? So he starts slow generally, especially on the surface that he doesn't like much. Maybe I mean, again, it's an overstatement to say that he doesn't like. He's won there 4 times. So. But still, first round after such a huge gap, I think he felt a little nervous in the first set where Rinky was going all guns blazing. But after that, it was normal services. The last 3 sets, I think. He has modified his serve a little. I noticed that it has more a sling to it rather than just going from the top. So that was interesting to see. So he's trying to keep the point short, probably because of that abdomen. You never know with that injury, but on a whole, I think he looked okay. I think he looked fine in fine touch.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with Rafael Nadal, we never know what kind of injury he's playing with, right? Or what kind of what part of his body is,
is
asleep and he's still
Yeah,
playing or he's still winning. So we don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Tejas, like he lost the first set. I think probably he was struggling with his injuries. But then there was a change in his strategy. As you said, there was a change in his serve, and then he was trying to keep the ball short, which we don't see with Rafael Nadal. He's a defensive player. He tries to keep long rallies, but then he's trying to change. Correct. So let's see. It's Rafa ultimately. He's not a hardcore player, but he won Australian Open this year. So we don't know. Let's see what happens. Like I've always been rooting for Rafael Nadal, no matter who the defending champion is, who the current champion is. I don't care. It's
Yeah, so
Rafa.
that's one of the things about Rafa. Like many people, because his clay court titles are so many, we just ignore the fact that he actually is the guy who has second most number of US Opens in the current active players. If
Correct.
we if we take Federer as active, which is now debatable for me at least. So I think this also reminds me of this very good point which was raised. Because I think it was 2 months ago in the French Open podcast, we started discussing about the two of the greatest players, Roger Federer and Serena Williams. And we had this conspiracy theory that the whole reason that these guys are not quitting is because they have a huge amount of money going behind them, and they actually have to make these videos and everything, and they have to make these practice sessions so that the money keeps pouring in. So now Serena has finally announced her retirement this year. Uh, what do you think? Do you think Roger Federer is just like actually buying time so that he can retire eventually, or he actually wants to make a comeback and be competitive in the sport once again? Prachi.
I don't think he wants to be competitive. I think he just wants to win Wimbledon one last time, and that's it. Like, just finish. I don't know. It's like I don't know the analogy. Like, that's all he wants. Like, he'd give anything to win that one Wimbledon title, which he lost to Novak Djokovic the last time he was in the finals. I think that hurts him a lot. That is what
That hurts all of us.
yeah, him a lot.
Yes.
I think that is what he wants. I don't think he wants to be competitive. I don't think he would be looking for a #1 ranking or even the top 10 ranking, but he would want to play and win Wimbledon. And that is why he's just hanging in there. That's the reason. Anyway, ranking is not a problem. He'll get a wild card just because of his name. People will come to watch the matches. So,
That's true.
see.
Tejas, what do you think?
I mean, with Federer, I have two different things about two different players. Coming from Federer, I think I've watched him since, again, 2004, 2005. I think the man is probably was born to play tennis. I know I'm a Nadal fan, but you can't argue that. I mean, probably if anyone has to say who was born to play tennis, I think it has to be Roger Federer. He's just this painter, and this race court is his canvas. It's just him.
Yeah.
I think all the sponsors videos aside, I just think he wants to come back and play the game that he loves. I think if in 2019, if when he was up 40-15, one ace could have done it. I think he could have probably announced his retirement at that point. But now I think all the focus is probably come back and play Wimbledon once again, no matter if he wins or loses. But I think he wants to come back and feel that energy on the center court and bow out in a place where he's so much loved. I think that is the only thing that is keeping him going.
Yeah, it's a place
Yeah,
where
like that's one of the things which we had last time, that he was playing against Hurkacz and he got bageled. I think this was the very first time that Federer ever got bageled on the grass court, and that was not the way to go for Federer. So I would definitely want him to like come back, have a competitive match and retire there and then. But yeah, let's see how it goes. I also want to see Federer once again, just that his down the line backhand, which is his signature shot. Really missing those things these days.
single-handed backhand. Down the line, single-handed
The
backhand.
backhand, just that beautiful thing. He kind of hit it against his return with Dan Evans, and the very feeling that it gives you, the kind of all that rush which you feel, even if you're a Nadal fan, you just feel happy. It leaves you with a smile that how beautiful this game can be. That's the bliss which Roger Federer provides. Another player who has been, it's not about the bliss for her, but it is about the intensity, the want for the victory. I'm talking about Serena Williams. It most probably is her last tournament. Like the way she had written it, it's not 100% sure whether it will be US Open, but it pretty much is pointing that it's going to be US Open. So Tejas, what do you feel about Serena's retirement? How do you remember her? What are your best memories about Serena Williams matches?
I used to follow Wimbledon quite a lot back in 2005, 2006. Serena used to win the singles and then also win the doubles with her sister. Right? And of course, Venus has 5 Wimbledon titles. So
Yeah.
Serena Williams for me is easily the greatest women's player ever. Right? 23, if the number doesn't speak for itself, I don't think what else will. I'm slightly disappointed with the way she announced her retirement, though it felt a little commercialized, if you ask me. Because for a magazine,
Vogue, yeah.
I just felt that being the legend that she is, I mean, she has her own social media. She can call for a press conference herself, and hundreds of reporters will come in and attend that. To take a magazine way to announce a retirement, I just felt it was a little too commercialized. But apart from that, huge loss to the women's game. I don't think we'll ever see anyone so intense, as you said, right? So intense, and that hunger to win. I don't really see anyone from the current crop having that kind of attitude. So that will be the most important thing that will be missed from the WTA. So I'll remember her for her intensity.
Yeah,
rather than
totally.
anything else.
I mean, Serena Williams, her presence on the court is so intimidating for the opponents. I mean, the way she looks, the way, first of all, the structure, her body structure, she's so powerful, she looks powerful. And then the way she looks at her opponents, I mean, half the game is done there. And then that powerful serve when she starts the game. I don't think I've seen a serve in the women's game that as good as Serena Williams. Correct.
Yeah.
So that's what my memory of Serena would be. The best memory would be at Wimbledon, any Wimbledon which she has played and won. I think that is what my memory is. Also, the last time she won a Grand Slam was at the Australian Open, which was special. So even that is something which I remember. So other than that, just her game, the powerful game, her forehand and her service, I don't think you can match anybody today in the game matches. And of course the grit with which she plays, like never say die, never say never. And the fierce intensity, I mean, do whatever just to get that point. I mean, she would, in the moment, she just won't think about anything else. I mean, she even abuses and everything, which is like, okay, that's her personality, right? I mean, that's how she is. That's how, because that's the love for her game, and that's why how she is who she is. And that's exactly what I love about Serena Williams. And it's definitely a disappointment that she's going now, although she has been inactive for a couple of years. But it is disappointing now that like officially she's gone. And also the Vogue thing, I did not like it as well. I mean, she could have just announced it in a formal way. But yeah, you should not have taken the magazine route to announce your retirement. I mean, even you're commercializing your retirement as well that way.
Yeah. And also few words in that statement as well didn't really go down that well with me. I mean, comparing with the other side of the tennis, right? With men's and all those things. She doesn't need to. She's a
She
bona
doesn't
fide
have
champion.
to. Yeah, she
No one,
doesn't have to.
no one really even thinks about that when you talk about Serena Williams. It's Serena Williams,
Exactly.
owner of 23 Grand Slams. Just incredible achievement.
Mhm.
She doesn't need to.
So we have Anirudh.
Yeah, so Anirudh just joined in. I'd like to introduce
Hi
him.
guys.
Yeah, so Anirudh, if you could just introduce yourself. He's also a new panelist for all of us.
Yes. So hi everyone. I'm Anirudh. I've joined in from Nagpur currently, but I work in Gurgaon with EY. So it's been a year with EY. Prior to that, I've done my MBA. And yes, Prachi and I were classmates during MBA. So that's how we know each other.
Yeah.
And yes, in my spare time, I love to watch tennis. I am a big time sports fan. F1, tennis, cricket. So football, I love it. So usually on weekends it's either F1,
You are
football,
a
or something
fitness
like that.
enthusiast. Like, just look at him.
Yes,
Look at him. Such a fitness enthusiast. So fit.
yes. So I'm a fitness enthusiast as well, and yeah. So
So Anirudh, we were
that's.
discussing about Serena Williams and what her achievement
Mhm.
means for us and what her retirement means for all of us. So do you have any things like what's your best memory of Serena Williams? Do you like her as a player? Did you like her game? How about it?
I loved her game because I don't think anybody comes even close to her sort of level of playing when it came to, if Serena Williams is playing her best tennis, then I mean, most of us would agree. But yeah, I think, but most of that for me got lost in what people might call as her tantrums. But yeah, so very bad memory of her is I think that match when she screamed at the linesman for a foot fault.
One with Naomi Osaka, where she won. Correct. That
Oh
one.
yeah, that final as well. Oh, I
Finally.
mean,
Correct.
I
Yeah.
mean, she just took it away from the moment, the
Yeah.
woman of the moment. So yeah, that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think anybody will ever come close to what she has achieved, because in women's tennis, as we have seen that, I think Prachi and I, we have discussed this multiple times, that there have been problems with people suffering with sort of uh, you know probably longevity in their career or something like that. So probably they'll go into modeling or something like that. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's stereotyping, but yeah.
No, they're here. It looks like they're just here to make money and not for the love of the game, which we did not see with Serena. I mean, she really loves the game, and what people call
Yeah.
tantrums, that's what I call it. Like it's the love for a game that she's like,
Yeah, that's kind
she
of
is
pouring
like
out.
that.
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
court.
the way she is the way she is. Simple.
Yeah, that's like one of the good ways to bring up a point which we have been seeing a lot. Also, weirdly enough, I've now started seeing that trickle down to ATP once the goats are playing lesser and lesser amount of the Masters. That is random champions popping up and consistency just not, it's just not there with the players. Whether it's even Alcaraz, when it all started, start of the year, everybody was so happy about him that, oh my god, this guy has come and he's going to win everything, and now he's crashing again. And it's not just about the crashing, it's also about the attitude problems which you're finally seeing pop up with him. Against the match with Cameron Norrie, towards the end of that, he was shooting balls into the crowd, he was shouting. A person who's usually a crowd favorite, when he does that, it seems kind of weird. So Tejas, what do you think will the state of ATP be once the goats leave? Do you see any person who's gonna carry the torch forward? Maybe not 20 slams, but maybe seven, maybe eight. Do you think something like this will happen, or it's gonna be just random champions all over the board?
Uh, I like the look of Medvedev. To
Okay.
be honest, from 2019, he looked like a guy who was very content with himself, with his game. He was just in 2019, I think, when he broke onto the scene in the hardcourt season, the US hardcourt season, right? So he was winning matches left, right, and center. And he even almost won the 2019 finals as well against Nadal. And of course, he's the defending champion this time. But I think the Melbourne crowd broke him this year somewhere. I think he also came out in the press conference and said, the little kid in me who wanted to play tennis just for the fun of it is gone. So, I mean, that is a big statement. I hope he comes back. And for me, I think Alcaraz still is the guy who can come with a little bit of consistency that we have, at least, I think we've gotten to see over the last 15, 16 years. Maybe we are spoiled. This generation
Yeah,
is spoiled
that's true.
because we have just watched them play with
Yeah,
consistency, or
I
all.
like that's also like how I've developed the habit. I always start watching
Exactly,
after quarterfinals because I'm like, at least till
exactly,
quarterfinals, these three are reaching. That's when it gets
exactly.
interesting. And now it's like first round Tsitsipas is out in US Open.
Exactly. And also the point that I think everyone is so much into this aggressive kind of a game where they start so good at the beginning of the season, just fizzle out at the end of the season, right?
Yeah.
Especially when the US Open series comes along, you'll find a lot of upsets with respect to seeds going out. So I feel that is the problem. They're not able to balance that kind of intensity that will help them last through the season.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just probably the new age thing now, and we are the spoiled generation. But that is what I've observed. Medvedev is the guy for me.
Yeah,
The
I
next
also
2
think
years.
like Suri raised this point about the aggressiveness. He had kind of a theory for it that most probably like at one point Masters 1000 used to be 5 setters, and then they reduced to 3 setters. So now these guys, 90% of the tour, they're playing 3 sets. So it's all about coming in, going hard, and not going about the stamina and all. But now since Grand Slam suddenly are 3 sets, they're not able to maintain that high level. Like multiple times we saw that Lorenzo Musetti last year with Djokovic, Tsitsipas with Djokovic, Yannick Sinner against Djokovic this year at Wimbledon. That first 2 sets they play out of their mind, then suddenly this guy just resets. He still has the stamina, he has the strategy, and he can dig deep and come back. So maybe that's also having an effect. So Anirudh, what's your take on that? Like, what do you think the scenario is going to be once everything goats finally retire?
I absolutely agree with Tejas. I mean, even I was going to say the same, that, Medvedev is the one who looks most promising. Because from whatever we have seen, all these new guys, they all started almost at the same time. But Medvedev is the only one of them, I think, who has been able to sort of maintain the momentum and sort of reach uh, finals and win a slam as well. But when you look at Dominic Thiem and Tsitsipas and all these players, Medvedev is the only one who was so probably he's the one who has changed his temperament the most.
Hmm.
So I think that was his biggest achievement. I don't know. I mean, we are nobody here to comment about his game or anything, but
Yeah.
I think that has helped him a lot, and I think that will be the only thing that will help him a lot in the future as well. So probably Tsitsipas and all these guys, they need to learn something from him.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think I see Medvedev as somebody who can win at least like a 5 or 6 slams. And I think again on that intensity point, I completely agree with that. We are witnessing more five setters in say round two, second and third rounds
Hmm.
these days. So I think that's the same because who would have expected that Nick Kyrgios, after doing all what he has done, would be able to reach a final and that too like a Wimbledon final. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just pockets of intensities that they
Hmm.
get, but they just need to channelize it and probably bring it down to Nadal's level, which we
Yeah.
witnessed in
I
Nadal versus Medvedev. So yeah,
The one
I
name you mentioned Nick Kyrgios, and the next line you mentioned Nadal in
Nadal.
no, but I really liked how Anirudh framed it like the dark day in tennis when Nick Kyrgios finally reached final of Wimbledon. He was like, "Oh my God, what are we witnessing?" So
We were discussing on the Wimbledon final, like what if Kyrgios wins? What is he going to do?
Yeah.
What is the next crazy thing is he going to do
yeah,
if at all he wins? Oh
he
my God.
breaks the Wimbledon cup.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. He probably would have gone to gone to Djokovic and taken a blade of grass and eaten it in front of him.
Yeah,
Yeah, in front
Just
of
curious
yeah,
things. Yeah,
in
just
front.
just
Yeah,
curious things. Yeah,
just to mess him up.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, my take is a little irrational. I've been a theme fan for a long time, even when he has been injured. Like Anirudh and Agnev, they both know that how big theme fan I am.
Yeah.
I still have hopes that if he like manages to come back after his injury, recovers with his post Grand Slam win troubles, mental troubles, and everything, and all the pressure, I think he can still be promising. Let's hope because I this is like irrational. There are a lot of ifs, but yeah, but his game before, like he won a Grand Slam, even before he won a Grand Slam, and he was trying to win a Grand Slam. He was there in 4 finals, and I think the fifth final he won, or was it the fourth final? I don't remember. It was fifth.
I think it's fourth. I think three
Fourth,
French and
three French, and then he won the
then the US Open.
yeah. So I mean,
French, I don't
you
think
could
there's a
see that
chance.
yeah, he was like really working hard to it. He was determined. He had a goal, but then something happened. He lost it. So I think if he even gets that game back, the one which we had seen, I mean that power, that backhand, and that just court coverage, the way he runs. I mean that's something.
Until and unless Nadal is there and Nadal and Thiem are in the same group, Thiem is not winning French Open. That's for sure.
He's not winning the yeah. And again, Medvedev, I agree that he looks promising. I mean, initially I had my apprehensions because of his just his temperament, just his nature, the way he was. Like he used to. I thought that he was the next Nick Kyrgios. That's what I thought. But then, as Anirudh said, that he had made a drastic change in his, the way he takes the game, the way he is on the court. I think that is something which shows that how much he loves the game and how far is he willing to go to make those changes. And then he ultimately won the US Open. And I think US Open is kind of like the jinx here. Like Thiem won US Open and then he kind of lost his way. And then that happened to Medvedev as well. But not because of US Open, that happened at Australian, but I'd like to think that way, that US Open is the jinx. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, if Medvedev kind of gets it back, if he gets that drive back that he wants to defend his title this year, so then I haven't watched the match. Like, is it scheduled today or did that happen yesterday? I haven't
It
watched.
already happened yesterday. I think he did a bagel against
Okay.
Kozlov,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
maybe we have one today too. Like
yeah,
Yeah, we have on to
the first bracket, yeah.
that looks kind of promising. I mean, let's see in
Hmm.
the 2 weeks what's happening.
But like since Medvedev has already been mentioned, and also we have mentioned the dark name, the Nick Kyrgios. But currently, like what was noticed suddenly was this was Canadian Open, which was I think a month ago,
Yeah.
almost, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. So in that, we finally saw the anti-Medvedev. That was Kyrgios just putting out a strategy. Then Tsitsipas using the same strategy against Medvedev in Cincinnati Open. Both of the times started working very well. The strategy is serve and volley to your death. That's the strategy which has been working very well against Medvedev, because Medvedev stands too far away in the baseline. He tries to take the serve and then he has to run up and get it. So if you're that good a volley player, Medvedev just kind of becomes very easy to defend your service game, and then it also becomes a little bit easy to break. So we'll be looking forward that how Medvedev this, I really hope for. But let's come to predictions right now. So we'll go ahead with the ATP predictions, and then we'll go ahead with the WTA predictions. So ATP predictions, top 3 which you think can win US Open for this year. It can be unrealistic, it can be realistic, I do not care. Tejas, who are your top 3 this year for ATP?
I wouldn't put a jinx, but yeah, it's Nadal, Medvedev, and yeah, I'll go with the the dark guy, if I can say that.
Kyrgios, oh my god, I don't know what he's going to do the day he wins his first Grand Slam. I don't know. Something crazy, definitely.
I mean, of all the years that I've watched him, Kyrgios, I think he looks more settled.
Yeah, like this is the most, like,
Yeah,
actually he
okay,
cares
yeah,
about the
yeah.
game. He is not
exactly.
tanked. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing really good tennis. Yeah, that's why he's in the top 3 for me.
Anirudh, who are your top 3 ATP side?
Nadal, Medvedev, and Carlos Alcaraz.
Okay, the young guy is there. And Prachi?
Yes, he's
Yeah.
there.
For me, it will be Medvedev. Although I'm a Nadal fan, diehard Nadal fan, but since he's not a hardcore player conventionally, I would go with Medvedev, then Nadal, and then probably Alcaraz. Or
But you know what?
yeah.
Yeah,
What?
Prachi, please go ahead. Please finish.
Alcaraz or
I'm
even,
sorry.
I think Kyrgios, if he starts playing well, even he can do that. I think so.
I mean, yeah, I don't mind if
I
Andy
don't
Murray or
mind,
Grigor
but
Dimitrov
yeah, I
wins.
mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's like our pipe dream, I guess.
Yeah.
Like every time Murray wins, for some reason, I feel happy because he's like, I saw him since
Exactly.
childhood. Yeah, it's like a childhood
Exactly.
friend winning, even when I've never
Yeah.
like known Murray, but I'm like, okay, fine. Didn't go 5 sets.
You
Yes.
know, it kills me to not see people like Dimitrov, Wawrinka, and Del Potro play. It kills
Yeah.
me, honestly.
I know.
Yeah, on that note, like
I
Wawrinka
was
is already
watching
out.
the Dimitrov match yesterday, right? Which he won.
Yeah, yes, I
And
think so.
yeah, it was beauty.
Yeah, he like
That's
at one point Dimitrov was called as the baby Federer. That year he
Federer,
also did
yeah.
end up winning the ATP finals, I guess. He has won ATP finals.
Yeah.
But after that,
yes.
for some reason, like his consistency is just not there. A lot of unforced errors. He just starts tanking randomly. Not tanking exactly, choking, I'll rather say, because there have been matches where he should have definitely won, but he started losing. So it's been weird. But since we have already predicted the ATP, now we'll be making the switch, going to the WTA side, the actual place where it really you don't know what's going to happen. Last year, nobody in this world could have predicted the 2 finalists. This year also, I was very positive Simona Halep is going to go to finals at least. She lost in the first round against a qualifier. That's how US Open works. After this, we'll also have a discussion about why this might be happening. But before we come there, the top 3 predictions for WTA. Anirudh.
I think it's really difficult in WTA because I don't know. As we've already discussed, I mean, you
Yes,
just said that no one would have.
qualified 2, qualified
Qualifier 3.
Exactly. So I will just say qualifier 1, qualifier 2, and qualifier 3 because yeah, there's like little to no consistency in the players. So I don't think that can be predicted, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, like literally, I was also like trying to go through all the tournaments which have happened, and it's just anybody, like whoever feels they
Literally anybody.
just anyways, like your dart, if you're hitting a dart somewhere, just
I mean,
try your luck.
I like the way Swiatek plays. So I'll
Yeah,
probably
that's
have
true.
her at the top. And Coco, I've been a fan of Coco since she has debuted. And just because she's playing her 63rd Grand Slam in a row, Alize Cornet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Also-
a beautiful story. Yeah, 63 Grand Slams in a row. I mean, even though she has lost a few Grand Slams in the earlier rounds, but 63 in a row deserves some praise.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's in the top 3 for me.
Alize
Yeah.
Cornet, the person who has been notorious this year for just taking out seeds whenever she wants to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she has
She took out Emma,
Amar
right?
Raducanu, yeah, this
Yesterday.
year,
Yeah.
first round straight sets in Wimbledon. She took out Iga Swiatek. Australian Open, I think there were again 2 seats. Simona Halep was taken out by her, I guess. So yeah, she has been taking out a lot of people. Ostapenko in French Open. So I do,
Ostapenko is not a seed. Ostapenko is another Nick Kyrgios kind of.
yeah, like
Yeah.
at least like she was higher ranked, if we can say that.
And has a Grand Slam, higher rank
Yeah.
and Grand Slam. Yeah.
Yeah, so Prachi, WTA.
WTA, again, I'll go with Iga Swiatek. She looks promising. I mean, out of all the girls that we have, she looks like she's the most determined and actually has the passion for the game. So, although she's not a conventionally hardcore player,
Good player.
but just because nobody else is going to do anything, I think Iga Swiatek can do wonders. That is one. Second, I would like to see Victoria Azarenka. I have been a fan previously, so I would like to see Victoria Azarenka win a hardcore Grand Slam. She has won Australian Open before. She has won Wimbledon before. I am not sure about the US Open. I forget, but
Nice, yeah.
yeah, she hasn't, right? So I would like to see her win a US Open, Victoria Azarenka. And third one, I don't know. I'll also go with Alize Cortez. Yeah, she's taking out seeds this year, so maybe.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Also, as we started, like even for me, like I do want Iga Swiatek to win. Also, part of me, like till I think 3 to 4 months ago, I was like Naomi Osaka. Then she made some really foolish comments on social media, and I was like, nope, this
She's
girl has
out.
lost it.
Naomi Osaka lost
Yeah,
her
she's already out. Also, there was this. I don't know if few people saw it, but on Twitter, she was like, "I wish I did not have to work for the amount of money, and I was born into money." Something, and everybody's like, "You're already rich. You're not allowed to say these things." But yeah, it was
And
very
also,
weird.
also the fact that she said there's no point in playing Wimbledon because it has no points this year.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
was
know.
like you are a like Grand Slam champion. You shouldn't have that attitude.
Yeah,
It was especially at this age. So yeah,
it's a Grand Slam.
I like earlier I used to believe in her game, but now I just don't. So I'm not a fan anymore. So yeah, so currently I'll say Iga Swiatek. I do have a soft corner for Leila Fernandez because I really like her game. I really like her attitude towards the sport. Also like young champion. So yeah. And third, this is
recovering from an injury. That's why I didn't pick.
yeah,
But I
this is
would.
like a pipe dream, but I want Serena Williams to win. Like that'll
Yeah,
be
who wouldn't? Yeah.
one of
I
the
hope
best.
she comes back after she wins. Like she decide, okay, I won. Okay, let's play.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would she retire after she wins?
Also, like covering what I started, kind of like why this happens, and this has been kind of called out a few times, is that they have different balls for women and men in US Open, which kind of causes the problem. So actually, it's the amount of felt. So the men's ball, they have more felt on it, so it's usually slower. Whereas in US Open, the balls have lesser felt, so it's faster. And for some reason, that causes a lot of problems on the women's side, and people start going out much faster. So maybe there's something to say there, because I think last year Ash Barty's coach was the person who came up with the comment that Ash Barty is never going to win the US Open till they do not fix the balls. So there's something going on there. But now, to close off everything, the first week has come to an end. So a few people have already fallen out. Tsitsipas, he's gone. Theme, he's already out. Apart from that, I guess on women's side, Emma Raducanu, Shimona Halep, they are out. So
Naomi
now
Osaka.
Naomi Osaka, she's already out. So we'll be looking forward for who wins. Now, just one last final question before we go is that this is something which is known as Federer's curse, that nobody has been able to defend a US Open title. I so I won't get into that. But another thing which I think is, I say theme's boon, that US Open has been the place where most of the next gen has all been able to break out.
Yeah.
So I think we know the kind of name which you're going for. But if you think it's not going to be Thiem or Medvedev or Nadal, who do you think is the next guy who might just go ahead and maybe win? Who is on the brink of just breaking in, but they have not been able to break in?
I would
So
say Sinner, Yannick Sinner. That would be my pick.
okay,
Because he looks disciplined. He has a good game. So I think he can do that. Also, Casper Ruud. Casper
yeah,
Ruud is a very disciplined guy, but not a conventionally a hardcore player again.
yes,
But he is disciplined, has the love for the game, and as Nadal said, like good family support and everything, and that his game is also good. Like he was the finalist at French Open this year as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think he can do that. So these would be my two names, Sinner and Road.
Tejas, who will be your two names? If
I'd like to see Sinner. Been a fan of him since he played Nadal in the French Open, I think, a few years ago. And then I would like to say Felix Auger-Aliassime.
yeah,
He looked really good against Medvedev in quarterfinals
and
in
also
Australia.
Nadal, yeah, in
Yeah,
Garros.
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, on grass, if I'm not wrong, right? No, it was in French Open. Yeah,
French
sorry.
Open, yeah, he
Yeah,
took to fifth
yeah.
set.
He
Yeah,
looked good. So, and he has Tony Nadal as the coach, so he can do wonders. I think he has the game to do wonders. His backhand is quite underrated, I feel. So he has one of the best backhands that I've seen. So yeah, Felix for me is another name who can make a breakthrough here in this.
Anirudh, who do you think?
For me, it would have been Tsitsipas, but yeah, that's super said. So it would be Yannick Sinner and probably Carlos Alcaraz. Maybe he doesn't have it, what it's got to win at this point of time, but probably he can, go as deeper as he can, so as just to sort of establish himself as a great player. So
Yeah, so like for my pick, like this is a very old pick before even French Open. Like this year, I was hoping that Zverev will somehow win it because like he has been there, he has a good serve, good backhand. Like if it works, serve is really on his mood. Sometimes he's just double faulting all over the place. Other times he's just hitting aces. But then he got out. Then I was kind of thinking about Tsitsipas. Tsitsipas got out. Also, he started throwing a lot of attitude problems. So I think my most random pick will be Nick Kyrgios. I don't. I think this is.
Nick Kyrgios is not even next gen anymore.
Yeah,
He's
he's
not the
old
next
jet.
gen
Also,
anymore.
like
Old.
the other random pick will be Koric after seeing
correct,
his
sure.
random performance at Cincinnati, where he just came out and blew everybody out of the park. So maybe we'll see a new champion this year too. WTA, nobody knows what's gonna happen. At this point, having a defending champion is more shocking than having a new champion.
Yeah.
So with this, I think we've discussed a lot of things the first round. We'll be meeting up again next week. We'll be discussing the developments which take place through the US Open, our possible changes the predictions after seeing the game. And finally, we'll be meeting once the US Open gets open to see how many of our predictions did hold up. So with this, thank you so much, Anirudh. Thank you so much, Tejas. Thank you so much, Prachi, for joining in. This is Akniv Sharma signing off for this episode of the Tennis Toast podcast. Thanks.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Good to meet you all. Bye bye.